How to eat a croissant. Now remember, even if they provide you with a knife, we don't use a knife to cut into the croissant.
Wow, you're so cultured and worldly. I wish I was you. So after this man gets done mispronouncing the word croissant, he goes on to explain that you're supposed to rip off little pieces of it to eat and nibble on like a mouse, and that you should never put butter on it because it's already made with too much butter. Proving once and for all why British people usually just stick to eating unrelated foods haphazardly slopped onto each other, because when you give them something fancier than that, they mess it right up. I like to hate watch this guy. Not because he's a bad person or anything, but because he just has this habit of doing literally everything wrong and insisting that it's classier. Like that little accent switch he does. You can tell he's trying to sound French. And you can also tell that he doesn't actually speak French, because that is the worst attempt at a French accent I have ever heard. He is doing that not because he actually thinks he's convincing you that he speaks French, but because one of his equally pretentious little buddies told him, "Oh, that's the proper way to pronounce it. You're pronouncing it wrong if you say croissant. You have to say croissant like an authentic Frenchman." In fact, I believe that every single time a person uses an English word that is borrowed from another language and they switch accents in mid-sentence to say it, they are doing it as an affectation to try and convince you that they are more cultured than they really are. Would you say that Arnold Schwarzenegger is mispronouncing the term girly man because he has an accent? Would you insist on switching to a West Virginia accent every time you say the N-word or talk about incest? No, because that is fucking stupid. Words can be properly pronounced in different accents. That is how the world works. And I can already hear the scholars among you saying, well, what about tonal languages like Mandarin? Tonal languages are inherently broken and poorly designed. Imagine a language where just talking like a valley girl can change the entire meaning of every single word you say. Where speaking in a monotone is all it takes to make everything too vague for people to even understand you. A language where writing poetry or writing a song is as clunky as can be. Now you may be saying, people write poetry in Chinese. What's the big deal? Here's an example of a poem written in Chinese. Now I love this because this is like watching a speedrunner exploit a glitch in a video game. This is genius, but not for like a good reason. You see, every word in this poem is the same. It's just she over and over again with different inflections. The closest English example to this is the phrase buffalo, 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 which does about the same thing. But you see, this is only 7 words if I counted correctly. I don't know. I didn't prep this. I don't do all that writing stuff. This is an anti-intellectual video, not a pseudo-intellectual video. Anyway, this is only 7 words, and it requires not only using proper nouns, but also using archaic word meanings. This is nothing comparable to the Chinese example. And yes, you can write music in Chinese too. Would you like to see an example of what that sounds like? Anyway, the point isn't that Chinese music sounds funny, although it does, obviously. The point is, switching accents in mid-sentence is nothing more than an affectation. It's nothing more than something you do to try and say, "Look at me! I'm cultured! I'm not like one of those filthy monolinguals! I speak 2 languages!" This may impress your little mid-wit Reddit-using friends, but the rest of us see this for the low-budget performance art that it truly is. When you say something like, "Oh, it's not pronounced jalapenos. It's pronounced jalapenos. You have to get it right. You're pronouncing that word wrong. Bitch, I will call them jalapenos just to piss you off. As a matter of fact, I will shove an entire fistful of jalapenos right up your ass, and I will leave the seeds in them. I hope that the trailer you live in gets blown away by a tornado. You are on the same level of pointless pretentiousness as the British people, the upper class ones, who insist on eating rice and peas off of the back of a fork, taking little mouse-sized bites, because, oh, it's a fork, not a shovel. We're not shoveling food into our mouth. It's not a shovel. Stop being so common. As if doing things the clunkiest and least practical way somehow makes you better at them. You are doing a trick that not only has no practical use to it, but it's not cool to look at either. You just look fucking lame. You see, when it comes to etiquette, there's really two types. There's the practical type, which is basically don't do things that get in other people's way or make annoying noises. And then there's the fuck you, I'm better than you kind, which is just meant to confuse the people that you see as common so that you can have a reason to feel superior. It does not surprise me that the same people who do this are the ones who also eat a cheeseburger with a knife and fork. These people take perverse pleasure in doing things backward. It is perhaps the only form of rage bait that predates the internet. It could be the oldest form of rage bait invented. And don't get me started on the people who use both a fork and a spoon to eat pasta. If you can't twirl your spaghetti without the aid of a spoon, then you do not deserve to eat spaghetti. If the extra utility provided by having a spoon to help you twirl your pasta is worth dirtying up a whole extra utensil, then you must be one of those people who participates in the Dark Souls community, because clearly you think dexterity is gay and you have never leveled dex a single moment in your life. Dude, my cats fucking hate this new voice I use. The little one jumps up on my table and like meows and checks on me because she thinks something's wrong. But anyway, I have a lot of just innate urges to be petty and just hate on stuff for petty reasons. I figured out that trying to repress it is no good, so I might as well use it to try to grow my channel, you know what I mean? Like, the pettiness is gonna come out one way or another, so I can at least try to use it to, like, get to that 1,000 subscribers and get to where I'm getting paid to be petty. Anyway, what was the point of this video? Like, nothing important. It's just a list of types of behavior that I see as lame and fake and pretentious. Nothing big. I see some phony shit and I'm like, hey, that's fake. Stop doing that. Anyway, like and subscribe.